Namaste children, welcome back. Lesson 8, chapter 8. We already started this lesson. This is third day of this lesson. First, I have given one PPT, domestic consequences and global consequences of deforestation. Then I have given conservation and its importance. Then the third one is about this. What is this? So conservation is very important, we discussed. Conservation is important because it maintains the ecological balance and it also maintains the food chains and the food webs. So to maintain all these things, the government has set up some organizations, some protective areas to protect all these animals. What are these protective areas? Biosphere reserves, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries. So already you learned that national parks and I think wildlife sanctuaries also you might have learned, and biosphere reserves are the new words for you. So before going to this, once I wanted to tell you this ecosystem and the species. What is an ecosystem? Ecosystem is a natural unit, naturally set up. It is the interaction which consists of the interaction of biotic and abiotic factors. What are biotic factors? All plants and animals called as biotic factors. And what are abiotic factors? Like soil, air, water and temperature. All these things will be called as abiotic factors. So both the interaction of these biotic factors and abiotic factors with human beings, all these things will live like a small unit. This unit is called an ecosystem. Now these are generally naturally occur. The natural ecosystem example is aquarium, forest, and artificial means created by man. Artificial ecosystem example is aquarium. Have you seen aquarium? And our crop field like paddy field, wheat field, you will observe now, that is also artificial ecosystem. Natural ecosystem is what? Forest. Okay. Now, so this is about ecosystem. Then what are species? Species is a group of organisms which can breed. Breed means reproduce and produce fertile offspring. Fertile offspring means they also should be in a position to give birth to young ones. So such group of organisms, a set of organisms are called species. Now you see cat. All the cats comes under one species. All the dogs comes under one species. All the human beings comes under one species. And you can't imagine that dog and cat. No, they cannot produce the fertile offspring. So, cats are one particular species, dogs are one particular species. Okay. Now, go back to this Biosphere Reserve. So, Biosphere Reserve is an international designation given. International designation means all over the world, UNESCO, organization called UNESCO. I think in social studies, UNO organizations you studied. So, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. So, this organization has set up Biosphere Reserves. So, how many Biospheres reserves are so far established? 669 Biosphere Reserves are established. In how many countries? 120 countries. How many countries? 120 countries. And all these programs, this is UNESCO one organization. So it is a biggest organization. Under that it has so many programs. Like how our school is having so many subjects, like that they have under this organization, they have started one more a small program called Man and Biosphere. Man and Biosphere. Under this program, they established this Biosphere Reserves. So out of this, okay madam, this many are there in the world. How many are there in India? So how many are there in India? 18 are there in India. How many are there? 18. In that 18, 4 Biosphere Reserves are most important. Very, very, very important, and so many organisms are surviving in this Biosphere Reserves. So Biosphere Reserve is not a small 1 kilometer or 2 kilometer area. It is like a vast area, a forest area will be considered as one Biosphere Reserve. Now I am giving small reading homework. I wanted to, I am asking you people to find out what are these 4 Biosphere Reserves which are given in the textbook clearly. right? Next, national park. So national park also I will share a small video for that. What is the difference between a biosphere reserve, a national park and a wildlife sanctuary? Okay. All these things I will give a small video. Read the textbook clearly. I think I am clear today, right? Thank you.
Hello viewers, I welcome you all in this today's very important session which is related to geography and is about the national park, the wildlife sanctuary and the biosphere reserves. You might have come across these statements very often, but it's very important to also know the major differences about them. So in today's session, we will be looking towards the difference of these three. When we come to national park, a national park implies an area that is exclusively designated by the government for the conservation of wildlife and biodiversity due to its natural, cultural and historical significance. In a national park, no human activity or settlement is allowed. No cutting of trees, no grazing of animals, and not even any outside species is allowed in a national park. It came under the category called protected areas, which is declared under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, that is IUCN, has declared the national parks in category 2nd of the protected areas. Even if you want to visit any national park, an official permission for the same is very important from the relevant authorities. Now let's see what wildlife sanctuaries are. Wildlife sanctuaries, as the name suggests, is a place that is reserved exclusively for the use of wildlife. It provides habitat and safe and healthy living condition to the wild animals, especially to them who are endangered or are rare ones. People here are not allowed, but some human activities are obviously allowed, such as the grazing and the collection of firewood. Tourism is also permitted here, and a wildlife sanctuary can be upgraded to national park by the government, but a national park cannot be downgraded to a wildlife sanctuary. The IUCN has grouped wildlife sanctuaries in category 4 of protected areas, and it is covered under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Now let's look over to what are biosphere reserves. Biosphere reserves are notified area which cover a very large area of land and may cover multiple national parks, sanctuaries and reserves as well, which are meant for conservation of biodiversity of any specific area. All plants and animals are preserved in its natural habitat, and also they provide facility for educational and awareness purposes of the biodiversity. In its outer zone, the people are allowed to live, to own property and to carry out their old traditional practices and activities, basically which are dominated by the tribal people living in such areas. And a very important feature here is to note that it is not specified by any parliamentary law as such, but it is derived from the UNESCO's Man and Biosphere Program of 1972. If you like the video, please subscribe to our channel and get more updates on any such videos. Thank you and have a nice day.